You have created a monster and it will destroy you.
She's alive! Alive!
I am Dracula.
Love Michael Craven, and that goes with the wardrobe story. So ask me about Michael Berryman or the wardrobe thing, and this is so weird. I've never had anybody ask me about Michael Berryman.
And you're live.
Well, here we are. We've already started without you.
Sorry.
Welcome to Monster Manor. We're covering Phantasm, and by a wonderful stroke of whatever you call it, we got Mimi Craven. So I am excited to introduce you to Mimi. So we were
Hi.
talking about, I guess, one of your first jobs doing a wardrobe.
Well, no, okay. So I'm a flight attendant, and Wes Craven's on one of my flights, and he literally comes up to me and says, now, anybody who's met Wes, he was very shy, very smart, very funny, but very shy. So for him to do this, I don't know how he got the gumption, but he did. He came up and he said, my name is Wes Craven. I'm on my way to South Carolina to direct a movie. It was Swamp Thing. And you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And would you please come and be in my movie? And I went, no, and walked away. And somehow, I don't know how, he got my information. And then like 3 days after I got home from the trip, I got a telegram. Now this is the only telegram I've ever gotten. I still have it, from Michael Uslan, who was the producer, who's now the big stinky Batman producer, big stinky cheese in town. And it said, my director can't eat, stop, he can't sleep, stop, please change your mind, stop, it will change your life, stop. So I did, and it did. So I go and I do Swamp Thing. Wes and I get together. I move to LA. He does Hills 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
And there's no part for me in Hills 2. I'm not an actor at that time. I really hadn't done anything. So I think, what could I do? What could I do? Wardrobe assist. I'll be on the set. I'll be useful. So we have our first meeting, all the crew, right? And I go, and I say, I know that, because they always call the director Sir on the set, Sir. And I said, I know I'm Mrs. Sir, but I'm wardrobe assist, so please don't treat me like you would treat a wardrobe assist.
Yeah.
I was the first one on the set. I was the last one to leave the set. I was washing people's dirty underwear.
You earned it.
I earned, and by the middle of the shoot, we had a crew meeting. I was like, okay, who do I have to sleep with to get off this set?
Yeah.
I was so tired. But Michael Berryman.
Yeah.
Michael Berryman. I mean, I made all of his jewelry, like for the stunt guy, to match his jewelry. It was just, I mean, we had so much fun. Michael Berryman came to our wedding. Do you know he was born with something like 39 birth defects?
Yes.
And he overheated on a set. He
'Cause
overheated.
he can't sweat.
Yeah, he can't sweat. He has no sweat glands.
Yeah.
And he overheated, and he didn't tell anybody. And I happened to be like around his trailer, and I heard him, and he was panting like a dog, and I'm in his trailer I threw him in the shower, turned the cold water on.
He's like
and
in
all
full
that.
heat stroke at that
Full
point.
heat stroke.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he didn't
gosh.
tell anybody.
Yeah.
He just went to his trailer, and I don't know, was gonna die or whatever. But that was my one. I'll be on the crew. I was never gonna make that mistake again.
So then comes '84. What probably everyone knows you for is the nurse from A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare
Or
on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm sorry, it's been such a long day.
That's quite
But
right.
so
Yeah.
they know that, but they don't know the story behind the story. And I found out in the courtyard here a little bit of that. Could you share with us what your contribution was to A Nightmare on Elm Street?
Oh my God. Well, okay. So Wes would write,
Mhm.
and he would write on that old computer that when you printed it out, it would go
Oh, yes.
and it
Yes.
would have the serrated edges and
Mhm.
everything. He would write at night, and then during the daytime, I would edit, and I would read, and then he would sleep, and then he'd get up, and then we would run scenes and talk about stuff, and he would change things. He'd go back out and write. He would wear a pith helmet.
Oh,
He would
wow.
wear a pith helmet.
There's a visual.
Yeah, no, it was great. A blue bathrobe and a pith helmet, and he would sit and write all night long, and then I would read and edit, and we would talk about things. And so I really feel that I'm Freddie's mother, and I was there from the very, 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 very beginning.
Yes.
And I went to the set every day, baked cookies, would walk around.
Yeah.
Everybody called me mom.
Yeah.
You know.
I think people forget that that's such a young cast too.
Oh,
I mean,
God,
that was
and they were
Johnny
great.
Depp's really.
And I ran into Johnny years later at the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah.
We were on Harvey Weinstein's yacht,
Oh my.
right?
Yeah.
And it's across the room, and I hear this, "Mom!" And I turn around, and there's Johnny going. So years later, he still called me mom.
So what is that like? I mean, because he after Nightmare, he just shot up.
Well,
There
yeah,
was
he went to
21
21 Jump
yeah.
Street, and then he became, which for somebody like Johnny was just the worst thing you could do, is throw him in that pool.
Yes.
That I live my life in a fishbowl,
Yes.
and I have no privacy ever.
Yeah.
He was just the sweetest. When he came in and auditioned for Nightmare, he was a musician. He wasn't an actor. They actually weren't going to hire him because
Really?
he gave a bad reading.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Who could imagine? That?
Yeah, but then you turn around,
Mhm.
they turned around, and Wes's daughter and her best friend, and I think we were 12 or 13
Yeah.
at the time, were in the back of the room. They were literally squealing
Yeah.
about him.
They like the preppy
And
heartthrob.
yes, and it was like multiply that by millions. So
Yeah.
you got the part, and there you go.
Yeah, and that casting was magical. I mean,
Oh.
the thing was, Heather was wonderful as the every girl. She was the girl next door.
Oh, yeah.
Tina was, a little racier.
Amanda, she was.
Yes.
Wes always referred to her as his Janet Lee.
Mm. Yeah. Oh God, she
Yeah.
could scream too.
Yeah.
And the things
Yeah.
that they put her through.
Oh yeah, he almost died. Wes almost died on the set because of that
The gamble.
that room.
Yeah.
The room, they had done the stuff with Amanda where she crawls up. They literally, it was a room they built, but they turned right so that she could crawl up
Right.
the sides. And then when they did Johnny's scene, he gets sucked into the bed,
Right.
and then
Right.
all that fluid comes out. So when the day they shot that, I did not go to the set because the set was that room and all that,
Right.
And so they had it filled with fluid. And what they did is they strapped Wes inside the room in a chair, and the cameraman in a chair in the room, and then the grips had ropes, and they turned that room. What they hadn't thought about was all that liquid, right? And the room started spinning.
Oh, from the centrifugal
And,
force.
yes,
Once it
and
started
the
going.
grips lost hold of the ropes, and the room started doing this. So I get a call at home, and it was like, Mimi, yes. Well, first of all, he's fine.
Oh, you never want to hear it start like
you
that.
don't want to hear the start of, well, first of all, he's
Yeah.
fine. But, they could have both died. They were just with all this fluid.
Yeah.
The original Nightmare was made for 1.2 or 3 million. I can't remember. I
Right.
think it was 1.3 million.
And New Line was a baby studio.
New Line was nothing.
Yeah.
New Line was nothing. And, so you look at the original Nightmare and you see every pinhole.
Yeah.
They did such amazing things
Right.
with nothing.
Right. And I mean, there were legendary stories about even Robert Englund, who was well known for V. You know,
Yes.
he was probably.
People forget about that now. He was so
I loved
good
him.
in V.
That showed
What was
who
his
he
character
was.
name?
Oh gosh.
Was it a Q name? Quincy?
I'm sure one of our viewers is going to scold me
Yes.
for this because
Oh,
I talk
yeah.
about it all the time.
Oh, he was
It was,
so
and he
great.
was so sweet, and I think
Yes.
that's what the true Robert was. I've always loved him for that.
Well,
and
he's
I've met
such a
him
great
since.
guy. He's such a great
Yes,
guy.
yes, but
He's
I mean,
the perfect guy for the part, you
yeah,
know? Because the thing I think that separates Wes Craven movies,
Mhm.
horror movies, from other people's horror movies, except for
Yeah.
maybe Rob Zombie, I love him, is
Yeah.
the humor.
yes,
You know, when I talked to you before, I told you that, and I've been on the planet a little while, and Wes Craven is still the smartest, funniest man I ever met. And I can't say that without tearing up. It's amazing.
I
Yes.
believe that wholeheartedly,
Yeah.
and you see that in his work and in
Yeah.
his legacy.
Yeah.
Everything he did had that strain of irony.
Exactly.
You know?
He got the joke.
Yeah. Did he ever regret that he was so well known for horror? Were there any other passions that he wanted to delve into?
Well, you know, it's funny. I think, and I said this at, we were all on a dais, the whole Nightmare crew, and they had actually, it was the first one after Wes had passed, and they sort of left me to say something to the audience about it. And the thing I said was, if Wes Craven was afraid of anything, it was that he would be remembered only as the king of schlock, you know, the horror meister. But when Wes passed, the royal family of England put out a statement. You know, he was remembered for much more than that. You know, he wasn't going to be just that.
Yeah, I'm glad because there was so much more.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've been reading about him and his work since I was a teenager. So, I mean,
you know, he was an English professor.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Because for him to be able to convey what he did in written words, also take memories, like who Freddie was to begin with,
Yes.
a memory.
Yeah.
That took something beyond just a schlock writer.
Oh God, yes.
You know, that he could put that into words and make it so relatable, no matter what film it was, whether it was whatever it was. You know, Hills Have Eyes. There was that. You know, with the way that the characters interacted, there was an authenticity. Oh, I'm sorry. When you go from
It's modern time.
modern times and waits for no one, when you go to something like the Nightmare on Elm Street, there was an authenticity. There was an authenticity in the way that the parents acted. There was one particular dynamic with that. You have the father, who's a professional cop, you
Right.
know, and
John
you have
Saxon.
the mother. Oh
So
God,
bad.
yeah, that
So
was
bad.
unbelievable.
So
That,
perfect cast.
yes,
Perfect.
yes, and the mother was the flip side.
Yeah,
You know,
Ronnie
you see
Blake.
that there was real conflict there.
Yeah.
You know, she was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Why did that need to be in that movie? It added that level of authenticity. There's a lot to that movie that if you look at it just as schlock horror, no, there's a deeper thing here, and it speaks
Yes.
to everyone.
Yes, and you can't. I think it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has a lot of depth that, you know, I'm not, it's so funny, I'm not big on horror movies, you know. I've done some that I haven't even seen, but Wes's movies were not, you couldn't put them in that box.
Yeah.
You know, that just the horror box.
Yeah.
You could take them out, and there was always political commentary, or you know, life, little jokes, little foibles, little idiosyncratic things. You know, Wes tried to put all of that and put it down into 90 minutes or whatever, you know, screen time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that frustrating for him having to condense down to?
I know. I think he loved it.
Yeah.
I think he loved it. Well, he was an editor also. You know, he edited. He was always there for the edit, and he used to do that. Foreman as an editor? I seem to remember an old story about him editing Roger Foreman, teaching him how to edit. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. But that may be the case. I don't know. There was something like that. But he was a wonderful editor, and he really enjoyed that kind of, methodical.
I think that's what made him such a fantastic director as well, is that he knew what he would have to fix later.
Right.
So everything was precise.
Right.
That you can see in his work.
Yeah.
When it came to, because I know that there's been a lot of debate about this, he creates this character, then the sequel comes out.
Right.
What were his thoughts on that? Because part 2, in my opinion, there's a lot of depth to it. It was way before its time.
That
But
was
what did he
after
think?
me.
Yeah.
That was after
Yeah.
me.
Okay. Because I always wonder what went on there.
Yeah, no, that was unfortunately after me.
Yeah. Well, looking back, since you were such a part of the first one and editing and everything, the new one. Now, nothing against.
Oh, you mean the
Jackie
remake?
Earle Haley, but the new reboot. What was your thought seeing that?
I never saw it.
No.
No, and it's funny because I have my own part of it.
A vested interest.
I have vested interest
Yes.
in it because it's the original script.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I tried. I wanted to.
Yeah.
It was to me. It would have been disingenuous. I don't know. I would have been. I don't know, a traitor. I don't know.
Well,
I just couldn't.
I was dragged into it, kicking and screaming.
I didn't think it should be remade.
No.
It shouldn't have been remade. I thought it was a perfect movie.
It
For
seemed
the
like
time
a cash
and the money and the people involved.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why. I don't understand when they remake things that don't need to be remade.
Yeah.
It did not need to be remade. I'm glad they did because I do have an interest in it. But that's just purely on that base money level. That means nothing.
But it pushed so many people. This is the one thing that I thought was cool. And I have to brag on my daughter, who was 5 years old at the time. And yes, because she grows up with this.
Right.
She sees makeup.
Right.
And Robert Englund's makeup in Nightmare was probably her first introduction to what real makeup was.
Yeah.
She got it.
Yeah.
Okay. She saw the remake over at her grandparents.
Had she'd seen the original?
She had seen the original. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and she was very aware. She's like, I don't like it.
Out of the mouths of
5
babes.
years old. I don't like
Out of the
it.
mouths of babes.
That's
I don't
not
like
Freddy.
it.
That's not Freddy.
There is
And
no Freddy
the
but
thing-
Robert Englund.
Yes, and I think, shoot, I could watch him all day long on, because they did like a short stint on, what was it, the Goldbergs. Did you see that?
No.
He made a guest appearance on the Goldbergs. They were doing a flashback
Oh, you've got
to like She's Dreaming, because the whole series is set in the 80s. So of
Okay.
course the kid wants to watch Freddy. They're
Yeah.
very pop culture.
And Robert did it. I bet he
Robert
had such
did
a
it.
good time.
And Robert
he must have
Kurtzman,
had
who
it.
did some of his makeup in the series,
Right.
came back to do his makeup. So it was so nice seeing him in that outfit at least one last time. I'm hoping they're going to pull it out.
I was there on the wardrobe when they were wardrobing for the movie, and when Robert walked in, after he'd walked in several outfits, and he
Yeah.
walked in with that red and green sweater, and
Yeah.
everybody went, Christmas! It was like, yes, perfect, Christmas.
And what
Let's
I mean, that's
screw
the
around
opposite.
with Christmas.
Yeah, that was the opposite. Man, oh man. And that sweater though has become iconic.
Oh, yeah.
The sweater, the fedora, and the glove are
Absolutely.
icons.
Absolutely.
Was that all his idea?
Wes's?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh,
Everything
yeah.
with that.
Oh, everything.
Mm.
Everything. Yeah, from top to bottom. Now, nobody could own them
Mhm.
like Robert.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people have you seen put on, I'll never forget being on the set and literally watching Robert. I think the first thing I saw him do was the one where he had the extended arms.
Oh yes.
He had the extended arms
Yes.
with the things on it. And just watching Robert's physicality, knowing Robert as Robert,
Yes.
and then watching him get made up and he would he was like a ballet dancer, you know.
Yeah.
He would just,
He had a swagger.
yes, he had swaggers.
Yeah,
Excellent
he
word
had a
for it.
swagger about
Yeah.
him, and I love that even today. And
Yeah.
I've gotten to meet him differently on a more professional level because
Yeah.
we're sculptors, and we've worked on a figure for him, an 8-inch figure. And, you know, studying his face, even now, he's got a beautiful face.
Yes, he does.
And seeing how he moves, it's almost like pantomime. Even now,
Yeah.
it's amazing,
Yeah.
you know. And that, I don't think Freddie would have been the same without that.
No, God, I can't imagine. No, I can't. And that's one of the reasons I didn't want to go see the movie, the remake, the reboot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just superfluous.
I would have been so judgmental
Yeah.
the entire time.
But like I said, it pushed more people, including my 5-year-old, back to the original.
Yes.
And then it was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
let's just watch the original. You know, this was so much better.
Oh, the humor.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Did, and I'm not sure if you can answer this, but his relationship with Bob Shea. Bob Shea was there contention there, or?
No, because there was contention there between Bob Shea and me.
Oh.
I was the one doing all. I remember several evenings, Bob Shea and I standing like, you know, this far apart, screaming at one another.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like the way he talked to Wes
Yeah.
on the set. No, Wes didn't have content. He wasn't on sets.
Mhm.
As opposed to being in marriage. On sets, Wes would just roll with it and deal with it and not waste time
Mhm.
getting riled up about it.
Yeah.
Me, I had plenty of time to be riled up about it, and I did not like the way Bob talked to Wes. They had fightings about the end. Bob wanted to do some weird ending, you know, and I didn't like the way they resolved it. They resolved it,
Yeah.
but I didn't like the way he talked to us. Bob and I would scream at each other. Now, I
Yeah.
love Bob Shea. He's done very well, you know. I mean, Nightmare wouldn't have been Nightmare
Mhm.
without Bob
Yeah.
coming to and putting it together, you know. So I give him the kudos.
Yes.
But I did not like the way he treated Wes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought, because I've read, like I said, I've read a lot on it, and I've seen some of the skirmishes and stuff that, in my opinion, if I were in Wes's shoes, I'd been a little bit insulted. But he didn't
Wes
have
wouldn't
time for that.
waste
He was
time.
enough
He would
creative.
not waste the time.
But, you know, the fact is that you don't think they were so young. I mean, comparatively, they were young when that was made. That was Bob Shea's, probably his 5th year in New Line. It was a fledgling company within the 5 years.
Even 5
Yeah,
years?
it was probably within 5 years.
You know,
but not-
New Line is Nightmare.
Mhm.
If Nightmare hadn't happened, New Line wouldn't be anything.
Yeah, which means all of the stuff that came after, Austin Powers
Absolutely.
never would have been.
Never.
Lord of the Rings never would have been.
Never. New Line was, everything's built on the Nightmare foundation.
Yeah,
And I'm sure Bob Shea would say the same thing.
yeah. Well, he cannot fault Wes Craven for his vision in that, because if there was no Wes Craven, there wouldn't have been a New Line. There's no way.
No, and Bob's smart. He's a smart man. He recognized
Mhm.
the talent that was not being utilized
Yeah.
in Wes. You know, while the two of them, you know, Wes was over here and Bob's over there,
Mhm.
but it done. They did
Well,
it.
that was going to be one of my next questions is, you know, you think of conflict as all bad, but that conflict also birthed.
Yes, resolution
amazing-
of conflict,
yeah.
or, you know,
least there
ignoring
were
of conflict.
Yes.
If you ignore it and let your wife sit and scream.
You know, I can relate to that because producer lady,
Absolutely.
she is my mouthpiece. And a lot of times I get into the flow of the art and I'm sensitive. I'm the sensitive
Absolutely.
artist.
Yes.
But she's not afraid to throw a chunk. You know, she'll get it done.
Yeah.
So you were that for him.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So, you know, you've had a very looking at your IMDb, check it out, because there's a lot all over
You'll
the
see a
place.
lot of me, that's for sure.
Do you what's in the future? What's next for
You
you?
know, I always got the parts, the blonde hair, big tits, long legs kind of parts, and I got those into my 40s.
Mhm.
And when it started looking like, ooh, I, and this wasn't people looking at me, it was me looking at people looking at me,
Yeah.
going, are they noticing what I'm noticing that
Yeah.
I'm actually, I became a photographer,
Mhm.
and I did very well as a photographer. And I shot a lot of movie posters and famous people for magazine covers, things like that. I learned my trade on Sharon Stone because Sharon and I were running around together quite a bit.
Yeah.
And if you can pass muster shooting Sharon Stone, because that girl knows a camera and she knows her face.
Yes.
And boy, she taught me so well.
Yeah.
So well. I could do no wrong learning from her.
Yeah.
So I did very well at that. And then when it got to be too digital, because I don't like digital,
Mhm.
because it made for crap, lazy shooters that they
Yes.
did. Oh, I'm not going to learn how to light.
Mhm.
I'm not going to learn how to do this because I can fix it in the mix.
Yes.
I gave all that up. So
Yeah.
I'm sort of retired.
Yeah.
I did, before COVID, I agreed to do a movie. There's a guy, and he's based in the Midwest, and he does kind of futuristic, on other planets kind of movies. And he had this character. He came to me. He was working one of these comms, and he came and he said, "Look, I have this part, and it's this alien queen, and she's on a prison planet. She's the head of this prison planet, and she's bored."
Oh.
And I went, "Oh, an alien queen, prison, board, no rules,
Yeah.
no rules." And I agreed to do that.
Yeah.
And the COVID thing happened, and it's been postponed. But I guess I've agreed to go back on screen. So yeah,
Wonderful.
as soon as that happens, that's what I'm. So look for me on a planet being an alien board queen.
Oh,
I can't
see?
wait. No, I can't wait.
Yeah. That's the role that you
Yeah.
sink your teeth into.
Yes.
I love too, because Hollywood, it's like it's got an expiration date. They've always talked about
Yeah.
that, especially for female actresses.
Oh God.
You know, the actress, the man gets more distinguished. However, nowadays you're seeing that change around.
Yes.
Jamie
Because
Lee
there's
Curtis.
lots. Yes, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
I love her so much.
Yes.
She's on the cover of, I think it's AARP this
Mhm.
month, and she looks so amazing.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
know, she's just an incredible person, and one of the nicest people
Yeah.
you'd ever want to meet,
Yes.
and just beautiful. And
I would love to see that as a trend, you know?
Yes.
Because, I mean, she's kind of groundbreaking,
Mhm.
but she never really went anywhere. Linda Hamilton has
Yes.
come back. Helen Mirren.
yes, Helen. Well,
Gorgeous.
Helen Mirren never stopped.
Yes, yes.
Helen Mirren never stopped.
But Hollywood is starting to notice that just because someone is older, it doesn't have to be a man.
Exactly.
The women can do it too.
Exactly.
So
Thank
I
you.
would love to see that.
From
That
your
would be-
lips to God's
I
ears.
hope so. I
Yeah.
hope so, because that
Yeah.
that story
Yeah.
couldn't be played by
Well,
a newbie.
maybe I could come out of retirement for some good reason. I don't know.
And we'll have posted her agent's notes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, because I mean that's the thing, is that again, authenticity.
Yeah.
If you bring authenticity to a role, that's the key.
Yeah.
But
And a lot of fun.
yes.
You got
And
to.
now-
I learned that from Wes.
Mhm.
You've got to have the fun, the humor. You've
Mhm.
got to remember all of the facets.
Right.
The whole thing. The whole thing builds it.
And now you're doing it just for fun, because
Yeah.
you don't have to.
I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
I'm that
You
old.
can rest.
I
you
am
can-
that old, and I'm that cranky.
Yeah.
I don't. If I don't like it, I don't do it.
I hope this gets made. This sounds like
Me
it would be
too.
a delight.
Oh yeah, no, I can't wait.
Wow. So I know we've kept you so long, and thank you for
Oh
coming
no,
on
it's
so quickly.
totally my pleasure.
It's been my pleasure as well. Are there any parting words that you'd like to leave with our listeners?
No, I think we kind of rounded it out. Don't forget about the humor.
Yeah.
Find the fun.
Be able to laugh, especially at Sarah, I think.
And
We've all forgotten how to
particularly
laugh.
at yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Laugh at yourself first, and then that gives the momentum out.
Yes. Well, Mimi, thank you very much for taking the time.
You are
I
so
was
welcome.
so lucky to meet you in the courtyard.
No, I
I'm
was happy
so
to talk to you. Yeah.
But I'll cherish this one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And is there any way that people can follow you, social media, anything like that you'd like to plug before we?
No, I'm on. No, I have. I think I am on Facebook. I think I have a website. Yeah, I do. Amy Craven Photography, I believe.
So we can see more of your other art.
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. I know I'll be checking it.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. We're going to have other guests come on throughout the weekend.
Yes,
but
it should be a fun one.
yes, yeah, this will be a fun day. This one was a little bit slow start because it's Friday, but
It
tomorrow
usually,
I think it's going to be
from
nuts.
what I understand, Fridays are always a little slow, and this is Friday is a good time to get this kind of stuff done.
Exactly. Yeah.
And get your bearings and figure out where you want to go and what you want to do. I've bought a knife and some books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, if you'd like to see Mimi, please check out Fantasm Orlando. You can go to the website, phantasmorlando.net. The schedule is all up there. You're not going to find better ticket prices. The hotel is beautiful. Parking is easy. Come out and see these icons. It would be really fun for the whole weekend. But if you can only make a day, come tomorrow because it'll be the fun one.
Oh yeah, tomorrow should be fabulous.
Yeah. Cosplay contests and everything else. And Tony and Roy are putting on a fantastic show here. So again, thank you for taking time to sit with us. I hope you have a wonderful night. And thank you for watching another mini episode of Monster Manor.
Monster Manor. Ooh, monsters have manners?
Yeah.
Oh, did not know that.
Hey Monster Kids, thanks for hanging out for another episode of Monster Manor. Do us a favor though and hit the bell to get reminders of when we add new content. Subscribe to our channel, and while you're waiting for new shows, check out our website at www.monstermanor1313.com. New content at least every other week, sometimes even more often. Like and follow our Facebook page as well for other content. And lastly, if you want to help us out, check out our Patreon under Monster Manor with Scott Fenster. Thanks for hanging out until the end. Yes, the Newport menthol